Oh, hello. You alright?
Yeah. Here we go again then at the beginning of an episode.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. You know how you keep moaning because I don't let you do the minis and motorbikes?
Yeah, you don't.
Right.
Keep jumping in.
I'm going to let you do
Tried everything.
I'm going to let you do this episode. I'm not going to interfere with you or anything. I'm not going to do anything. You just do the episode.
I can say the...
You can say the bit and then... Yeah.
What, the bit at the beginning?
The bit at the
that
beginning.
I've always wanted to say?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, I'll have a go then.
Yeah.
Right. What is it I say again?
Welcome Minis and Motorbikes. Run titles. Right, welcome back to Minis and Motorbikes, episode 6. This progress has been a little bit slut. Are you alright?
I'm alright.
What's the matter with you? Are you alright?
I'm alright. Don't worry about me. I'll be alright. Don't worry about me.
Done?
You never worry about me.
What have you done?
Well, it'll click back in a minute, don't worry.
What will?
Don't worry, carry on.
Alright, okay, yeah. So it's been a bit slow. I've stripped a load of the underseal off, but of course we've had bare metal, so I've primed it. We'll show you a little bit of that. And then we're just going to work through the car and then have a go on the roof, getting this horrible sticker off.
Yeah, we've been putting the roof off, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just...
we got the... I always forget what it's called. Carbon fibre type. Artificial carbon fibre wrap.
Yeah.
We got that off. But the Union Jack, which we've mentioned before, left all this sticker on it.
So we've been trying,
and we've been putting it off.
Sander on it, and it didn't. It just buggered it right up. So I'm going to try a bit of heat, and that makes it a little bit sticky once you've got the heat on it. And then we'll try a bit of body wipe or thinner to see if that brings it off. But
we'll have a go. But you've been doing something in the back of the car, haven't you?
I've been stripped off all the underseal and the sound deadening, and then I've just give it a coat of primer because obviously it's got bare metal. We're going to rub it all down and redo it all. We're then going to seam seal it again with a mastic and a thin line, and then the old wet finger trick and make it all nice and neat. So it looks better than factory. And that's it really. And just work our way down the car and get ready for the dash to come out.
Yeah, which hopefully be the next job after that. So get that done, get this done, or try and get this done. We might get halfway and then sort of leave it again and keep coming back to it because it is a bit of a pain in the proverbial.
It's complete.
Yeah, so slow progress at the moment. It's not like when you're taking an engine out or something, is it? You can physically see.
This is the hardest part of it, to be fair. Yeah. Once we get the underseal off and everything and get it ready for paint inside, start moving forward.
It's like the foundation work, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're digging foundations on a house, you can't see anything that's going on till you get up to ground level, and we're just trying to get up to ground level.
That is the worst part of it. Once you get that out of the way, it shouldn't be too bad. We missed a bit, Arch.
So we'll see how we get on.
Right, good.
Right, so you can see Adam has got all the priming done in the back of the car, and as we pan up through the car you can see some of the wiring still that which will have to come out eventually, and there's still a little bit of underseal.
Another angle of it, wiring loom hanging there. A bit later on I actually do strip it right back to the front so we can paint the rest of the car. But you can still see all the underseal. It's got to come off. Archie's fallen asleep there. Look, got in the car with Dad and decided he'd had enough. And that's the glue, the dreaded glue.
And the only way we could really try and shift it was to heat it up with a heat gun and use a scraper to try and lift about 50% of it up.
Again, it just looks like a Christmas tree. Moved it about, softened up, then went back hard again, trying thinners on it, see if that'd do anything. Petrol, white spirit, you name it, we tried it. Sort of got it off, but didn't really. So then it's drastic measures. What can we do? Paint stripper. Look how beautiful that is, look.
And now Adam can get a scraper on it and really try and get some of that coating of paint off and down to the blue. and really trying to move some of it. So that seemed to be a pretty good thing to do, but we then had to start applying that to the whole of the roof.
So we've got to take the lot off. So scraping it off, scraping all the paint stripper off with the paint. Even then got a rule out and started scraping it off with a rule, which was actually very effective. I think we're coming up to the sander, the dreaded sander. How fun that is. Starting the arm, look at all the dust on it. But the sander wasn't working, on the compressor isn't working, so we couldn't use the compressor sander, so we had to stick with faithful Makita, which is just proves it does it. You know, got the right papers on it how to do it. We're slowly getting it off. We're getting down to the bare metal now. There's still some to come off, but it's doing it. We got it down to bare metal, and we got a couple of coats of primer. The inside's done, up to the bulkhead. It's looking really good now.
And it really wore Archie out watching Adam do all this. So he's going to get his head down and let me go off and have a chat to a guy that I know who's got a CCM motorbike. Dave, for bringing your CCM motorbike onto the show. Couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about on it. Firstly, let's talk about the bike, and secondly, I wanted to talk to you about, like, you know, how you ordered it, what made you order it, the process and all that sort of thing. So firstly, I've got to get in what I normally say, and I always turn around and go, oh, I like this bike, so let's get that out of the way. Now, it's a CCM Spitfire 6.
Yep.
But what else can you tell me about it?
So it's kind of based on a really modular system. So they've been using the same frame and engine pretty much through most of their models. You kind of spec up what you want. So this style, the 6, they named because it's like the 6th version they actually did.
And each one that they do is like a limited run, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there was 300 of these?
This is one of 300.
Right.
They've got, the biggest run they do is 500. The reason for it is that you get round the compliance laws. It's a limited build. So what it means is, instead of like a car or any other bike sort of going down the production line and somebody with a book stamping it off, and it's all been type approved.
Right.
These get released, so you get a guy from the government to go around there and actually go through some basic checks. But it gives you the ability to duck out some rules. So there's a list of things it doesn't have. Doesn't have ABS. Doesn't have cruise control. Doesn't have traction control. Doesn't have any controls beyond the basics what you used to have.
This is a bit odd anyway, isn't it? Well, odd's not the right word, but that's not a metal tank, is it?
No, it's moulded. Effectively, it's a plastic tank. It's a moulded plastic tank.
Plastic tank, yeah. With like an enamel type paint.
Well, this one's called liquid mercury.
Right.
They pour it on because it's really thick, and it's not like you can spray it on with some of the others. But yeah, if you wanted your own colour, they'd paint it for you.
And you just spec it all up from CCM.
Yeah.
And I'm right in saying they're based in Bolton.
In Bolton.
Yeah. And they've been going, actually this year it's 50 years, isn't it?
It is,
50 years this year. So I do know a few bits. Well, when I look it up on the internet this afternoon. And the process of ordering it then, do you have to go to Bolton, or can you go on their website?
No, I mean, I looked on the website, pretty much got an idea of what I wanted. But when you're spending some money with these sort of things, it's worth going there just to go and see them. They're a really good bunch.
Did you go up there?
Yeah,
you went up there?
Yeah, and you sit down with them and you actually go through everything. I mean, there's one thing on this that they don't do on all the others that I got them to do. So the battery box down there is normally just a black plastic.
Right.
But I got them to paint that to match the tank.
And what's the time span on from when you actually sit down with the guys, spec it all out?
Right, well that's where it kind of didn't go to plan. So I ordered it at the end of 2019, paid a deposit, beginning of 2000 or last year. I finished, you pay up the balance sort of thing, and that was in January. They're going to start building in March.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing called COVID comes along.
COVID broke out, yeah.
So the engine comes from Italy. So Italy were the first ones to go into lockdown, which means the engines, then you couldn't actually get the engines coming through. So you had to wait for that to finish. By the time that finished, then the UK went into lockdown, so they couldn't do it. So they finally started to actually build it in July. And then we had more problems, so which meant they couldn't actually deliver it until end of August, beginning of September.
COVID not being around, it would obviously be a quicker process.
It should have been quicker, yeah.
Yeah. So that's out of the hands of CCM, isn't it? So yeah.
It's got. I mean, effectively, it's almost like one of the last British bike builders because Triumph have moved everything abroad. Yeah. Norton have just started up again. BSA are supposed to be starting up, but these guys have been going for 50 years. It's all based in the UK. The frame's made in the UK. Yeah. It's local to where they are.
And there's a very famous bike rider that's kind of involved with it all a bit, isn't he?
There's actually been three.
Has there?
Yeah.
So who's been the three? Because the last person I know is Carl.
Carl Fogarty, yes. Yeah. So he's been in there and he's like their handling guru. He's like on a retainer for helping them out with handling. Right. So he's been involved with flat trackers and with cafe racers.
Right.
So it's all kind of like track orientated and clip-ons and stuff. The other guy who's been working with them is Dougie Lampkin.
Right.
If you look him up, he's like the best ever trolls off-road, sort of like, do you remember Kickstart and all those sort of programs? Yeah. That's all trolls riding sort of thing.
Yeah. So Peter Purvis would know him then?
I do, I don't know. Could do.
So you think Kickstart,
Yeah, but he's been a world champion for years on that. And he's an incredible rider. I mean, he'll take something and jump over walls on a motorbike. But before that, there was a guy called Eddie Kidd.
Oh, Eddie Kidd was involved with them, was he?
Yeah, so do you remember in Pickett's Lock in 1976, he jumped over like 96 buses or something?
And that was on a CCM, was it?
Or whatever. And he did that on a CCM.
Right.
Eddie Kidd, yeah. Takes you back.
Yeah.
And they've still got the bike. So if you go to the workshop, they've actually still got that bike that he actually did the jump on there.
Oh, you're back then, are you?
Yeah, I'm
back,
back,
a nice
mate.
afternoon in the sun, have you?
I've had a lovely time.
Must have been working.
Yeah, I've had a lovely time. I found a little village called Finchingfield, and we sat there having a nice little chat about his CCM bike. And I tell you what, we were very tempted to have a crafty beer afterwards, but I didn't. I come straight back.
Ice cream. Ice cream would have been nice. Well, toiling away in the heat, an ice cream would have been nice, wouldn't it?
It'd have melted for the time I got back there, wouldn't it? So, it'd have been a waste. It'd have been a waste.
Yeah, that's enough now, thank you, yes. Joking apart, we have been busy. This roof was a complete nightmare, to be fair. The paint they use from the factory to give it a gloss black, I don't know what it is. It's not enamel. I think it's a plastic coat or something like that. But it wouldn't sand. You couldn't do anything with it. Then they'd put the Union Jack decals wrap on it. And then when they'd gone to put I don't know if that had come off, and then they decided to put a carbon wrap on it. When they'd put it on, they'd just left the old adhesive underneath it, and it had gone crispy and hard. And we tried to soften it up with thinners, petrol, white spirit, everything we tried on it, and it wouldn't. Heat gun sort of moved it, but then it took too much of the paint off, so then we'd have to then take the whole of the paint off of the roof to be able to give it a decent finish. So that's what we ended up doing. We ended up putting paint stripper on there, a real heavy duty paint stripper. I even ended up using a ruler and putting a little kink on it and scraping it off just to get it off. And then we got it to a point where we could sand it, where 60 grit paper would touch it. Problem with that was the compressor's not working, so we couldn't use the air sander, so we ended up using a cheap Makita orbital sander, but it did it. It did a good job of it. Took that all off, and then just give it a couple of coats of primer just to protect the metal, so you know, so it doesn't rust really or cause any problems later. I mean, it's not pretty, it's not beautiful, but it's just a basis we can work off and just protect it until we come to do the body work. I just want to get it so we can crack on, and then the painting will be sort of like a more important thing a bit later on. Now, the inside, I just finished off taking off all the sealant that's run around these edges. It comes over these panels here where they're welded onto the side and covers it all up. You can see from the pictures that we took before how much it was caked up. So we've took all that off. There's still bits to come off, but that'll come out and be done when we come to paint it properly. Again, it's just protection really, just to protect the bare metal, and then so we can put all the, you know, the extinguisher in and the battery in and get everything built up, because you have to build it up before you can build it, if you see what I mean. You do it all first, then you take it all out, paint it, and then you don't make any marks in the paintwork then, in theory, fingers crossed, because all your holes are pre-drilled before then, and then you paint it and it should all bolt back in and route it back into where you want it. There's still some brackets that have got to come off, we've got to take off. People say, oh, why bother, but it all adds up. You know, there's these ones here for the seat where the seat was, we don't need them, so take them off. It's weight, you know. Same with the catch to release the bonnet. You know, if you ever, you know, you can't undo the back, there's a little string that you pull, that bracket can come off. It's things like that. And bolts, some of the bolts, you know, if there's more than 4 threads sticking through the nut, then we lock that off and save all those. And you know, we keep those and hopefully show you how much weight you can actually save by just these little increments that all add up at the end of it. And that's about it really. We're ready now to fit the cage, which will probably be the next episode. We do a test fit first and get the metal brackets in place where the cage sits on, get them into place, and yeah, just crack on, dash out, fit the extinguisher, fit the battery where that's going, battery box and everything, and paint it. And then it's onto the suspension and everything, then underneath taking everything out and putting new stuff on there, so it's all straight from the off, so you're not using the old bent stuff that, you know, you're not sure if it's correct or not when you come to set it up. So if you put all new stuff on, then in theory you should be starting from a fresh canvas, and it shouldn't be that hard. You're not trying to figure out why, you know, it doesn't work properly in certain areas. Right, good. I think we got somewhere. Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm alright. Well, I mean, you know, you had a go at me for not doing anything.
Well, no,
so I thought I'd have a bit of a sweep up.
Have you missed a bit?
Have I missed a bit there, have I? Yeah, because I like to keep the tidy. I like to keep it nice.
No, this is
keep nice and tidy.
It's about the end of it then, isn't it?
Is it the end of the episode? Yeah. Is it? Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah,
thanks for watching the episode. But before we go, at the time that we recorded this, England were about to go in to the final and play Italy.
Yeah, in the Euros.
So we thought we'd give the boys a bit of a helping hand.
Yeah.
Give them a bit of luck, all right? And we thought we'd sing it out today. So bear with us.
Lights.
Lights.
Here we go.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Okay, you ready?
Right, hang on. Right. Ready?
Ready. Sweet Caroline. Good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would. That's enough of that, yeah. No, we won't ever do that again.
That didn't work very good, did it?
No.
Make a note of that. Don't do that again.
No.
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
Nice cup of tea.
You can't beat a lovely cup of tea.
Nice cup of tea. Right, nice cup of tea.